have a few things I will cover quickly. Number one, as always, this session will be recorded and posted on StayFi's YouTube channel, which means you can always go back and watch this and any other session that we do in the future. Also, there is no chat, but if you do have questions or want to comment anything really, you can add things to the Q&A during the course of the webinar. I always have the Q&A open on the side, so if you have questions and it's relevant to what I'm presenting at that time, I will go and answer it then. And then of course, if there's any other questions, I will get back to them at the end. I also know that we have already a ton of questions about Stay Finder, which is a completely new initiative that we are launching at StayFi, which is super exciting and is going to help people generate more direct bookings for their business in a big way, we believe. The next marketing mastery session will all be about Stay Finder, as there's still some things that we need to complete with Stay Finder to really get it ready to do our first session on the topic, although the website is already live in a beta form. And we are going to be running 2 additional sessions for Stay Finder. So we will do it during this normal time in 2 weeks, but then there will also be 2 additional sessions that we will be running. So if you can't make this time, I really recommend you make this other times if you can. So I just shared in the webinar chat to everybody the ability to register for these webinars, because if you can't attend the normal marketing mastery session for Stay Finder, definitely attend one of these. So you can learn all about the product, how to make sure properties are there, and then really importantly, the product roadmap. As we're still in beta, we're going to really be in the beta for the rest of this year, but starting next year, there's going to be a ton of really cool ways for you to drive more bookings for your business, get more visibility for your listings, and get people to book you direct versus booking you on Airbnb. So I'm not going to talk really about Stay Finder for the rest of this session, because we don't really have anything for you to do yet in the product other than opt in if you'd like to. But we will definitely cover it in the next mastery session and then these other 2 webinars. And then we will probably cover it again in the future as we add more features to the product. So today, switching gears is all going to be about text marketing in StayFi. We did recently launch some improvements to text marketing as well, so I will cover that. And I'd say text marketing is one of the most underutilized features in StayFi. And I think it's really important to know that it not only can help you drive more bookings, it can also help drive more engagement with guests during the session, during their stay, to make sure that they answer the questions they need to get answered through things like a guidebook, and that they are also getting access to your upsells. So yes, SMS marketing, super powerful for getting guests to come back and book again, but also really great way to engage guests during the course of the stay, because you can send them information that will be available right on their phone after they log into the Wi-Fi, which is very powerful. So for the agenda today, sorry, just pulling up the questions again so I can see those if we get any during the session. We're going to just quickly go over the tool, what you need to get started, because there are a few steps to getting started with text marketing, just like how for email marketing, we need to verify your DNS so that we can send emails from your domain. For text marketing, we need to issue you a toll-free number so your texts get delivered to guests and don't get blocked. And that may take some time, so I'll show you how that works. Then we'll go over the automation features, which would be welcome text and rate and review. And then we'll talk about group text, which is basically texting your audience, which was where we have some new features. And then, of course, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. And I will be switching back and forth, as usual, between the presentation with the actual StayFi dashboard to show you how to do things. So just like I mentioned, lots of different ways you can use the text marketing tool. Just as a note, our text marketing tool is designed to be one-way marketing messaging. So you can send texts to guests. They will come from a toll-free number. You can send them in a variety of different campaigns, which I'll show you. But we always have an autoresponder because we're not building another way to facilitate communication with guests. We always want to refer guests back to your preferred way of communicating with guests, which means that if anyone responds to a text message that we're sending on your behalf, it will always respond with your autoresponder, which will instruct the guest how to best communicate with you. So getting started, basically what you need to do first in StayFi is collect phone numbers. So when you go into the text marketing section, the first thing you need to do is turn on collecting phone numbers. You can start collecting phone numbers before you even send any campaigns. So you can go in and turn this on. When you turn on collect phone numbers, we will automatically update your splash pages. So if I go look at a splash page, once this is on, we will automatically have a phone number field, and then we will automatically add this text marketing opt-in. The text marketing opt-in is always separate from the email marketing opt-in, but we do need to get this explicit opt-in from guests. We also can text numbers in any country, so we have this drop down so people can enter in their country code. Once that's on, then you can start the process of getting your text messaging campaign set up. When you start any of these setup processes for the first time, we will drive you first through the registration process to get a 1-800 toll-free number or 888 number. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but basically, no matter how you get started, we're going to drive you through the process. You need to get approved for that number before you can start sending. So if you don't have this set up, basically your phone numbers will get blocked by mobile carriers. So we want to make sure you are set up and approved. And that can take 2 to 6 weeks. Also with StayFi, text marketing is all credit based. So you purchase credits in your account, and then when you send text, it will deduct from those credits. So this is what the business verification process looks like. The information that you submit is not that onerous. So I'll show you in text marketing. So once you complete it, you'll have access to this business verification step. You can see here, I really just need to put in my business information, my website, and a business address. It is important that you do have a publicly viewable thing like a website. If you don't have a website, it says here like a social profile. Essentially, when we submit your number to Twilio, which is a service that we're using to send text marketing, they need to make sure that you're like a real business and not like a scammer or a spammer, right? And one of the ways they do that is they make sure that you have like an actual business identity that is public. So if you don't have a website yet, make sure you do submit something where you can have a business profile viewable that looks legitimate. And then you also just need a business address here. About 90% of the time, these get approved. Sometimes they do get denied. If you do get denied, we will reach out to you, but you can also email support@stayfi.com, and we'll take a look at your submission and help you resubmit it so that you do get approved. 99% of the time, we can get you approved. So don't be discouraged if you don't get approved the first time. Most people will, but we can help you. But email support@stayfi if you don't get approved. So if you don't see business verification in your StayFi, it means basically this tab only appears once you start the process. In order to trigger the process, just click, I'll go back, just click to set up one of these messages. So set up Wi-Fi welcome or set up group text or set up rate and review, and it will walk you through the setup process. So just kick off one of the campaigns. You can set it up and not start sending it, right? So it's not going to make you send anything. Just click setup and then it will kick off the process to get your business verified. And then after business verification, you enter in your autoresponder. You can see here the example here. When you set up your autoresponder, you also will set up a brand name. So when you send text marketing, we always have to have a prefix of your brand name before the message. So you can see that here on the right. That's just kind of the legal requirement. So you set up a business name that your guest would be familiar with, and then you can put in the autoresponder information here. Again, if you need to go back and change your autoresponder later, it is under settings. So under settings, you can change the name, you can change your autoresponder message, and then here you can see the message preview. If you want to include a link in your autoresponder, we have automatic link shortening, which also provides tracking. So if I do put in a link here, you can see here, I put in stayfi.com, but when I have this check mark applied, you can see on the right here, you can see here, it kind of gives you this special link shortened that we will generate automatically for you. This link shortening allows us to track any clicks through your text messaging. It's more relevant in other text marketing that's not the autoresponder, so I'll show you that as well in another scenario. And this could be where to text you, where to call you, where to email you, whatever autoresponder way you prefer guests to contact you, you just place that here. So first, I will talk about the Wi-Fi welcome text message. This, to me, is where I would start. Just like email marketing, when we collect someone's email opt-in or we collect someone's text message opt-in, if we do not email them or text them within a relatively short period of time, the chance that they don't open or unsubscribe or mark your messages as spam goes up. So we never want to be like collecting a ton of data and waiting months and months and months to start sending things. That's why the Wi-Fi welcome email and Wi-Fi welcome text are my two favorite types of campaigns, because we want people to opt in, get messaging from us so that they know that they are now subscribed to your campaigns, and that will make sure that future engagement remains high, and also gives them the point if they decide this isn't what I want, they can just unsubscribe on that first one, and they're less likely to mark it as spam, which we also really want to avoid. So I find the key thing with this Wi-Fi welcome message is, again, you can think of most of the people logging into the Wi-Fi are not your booker, and therefore they are less likely to have received relevant information about the stay, about the home, about your brand, why they should book direct in the future, right? So we're dealing mostly with people that are not familiar with you. And then, of course, we also have the booker. So this is a great way to, again, introduce and reinforce your brand and share valuable content. And so the key thing to look at when we are setting up the Wi-Fi welcome text is we can use dynamic fields. So you can see here, welcome first name. We hope you enjoy your stay. Find our recommended activities and more here. And then we are using down here the homepage URL. You can see here we have also all of the other possible dynamic fields that we can put into a text message. We have first name, last name, the name of the property group. So if you have like properties in Arizona and properties in Texas, you can say like, hey, welcome to property group. And if your group is named Arizona or Texas, it will say welcome to Arizona. Or if you use property, it will be your property name. Again, if you import properties to StayFi from your property management software and they have kind of non-marketing names like code names, you can always go in after the fact once it's connected and then edit the property names to be the real names. So if you want to change any of these things, if under properties, we also have the bulk editor. So you can edit property information. So if you want to make sure you can change all the names to be the real guest names, here's the group, here's the address, right? So all sorts of things using the bulk editor you can use as well, just to make sure the property names, if you do use them, are the real life names. Now, the ones that I think are most important is the home page, because the home page is where, again, we want to make sure we have all of our essential links. Since we have plenty of time for this one, I'll do a quick just reminder on how to edit and set up your home pages, because that's what 99% of people, or I would say 90% of people, are sending in this welcome campaign. So if I go to guest experience, there's kind of two steps to setting up your home pages to make sure they are good. One is to edit the template, and the second is to do the bulk editor. The template is where we decide what are all the possible buttons we want on our homepage. And the bulk editor is where we then fill in the details for where those buttons will link. And if you have certain properties that don't have certain buttons, that's fine. If you leave the field blank, the button just doesn't appear for that property. So if you only have a digital guidebook for some properties and not others, don't worry. You just put the guidebook for the ones you do have, and for where you don't have them, there will be no button. So on the edit homepage details, you could first just make sure you configure contact us. Do you want to display property address or not? And then we always have the ability to do a guidebook, to book again, visit our website. And then down below we have custom buttons. So you can add as many custom buttons as you want. And then if you want to use our upsell partners, you can add the host code Viator. And if you sign up here, it will automatically send you emails for how to set those up. I'm not going to do the full setup for host code Viator right now, but if you do want to use those, you can turn them on here. And then of course you can create custom buttons for other upsell tools. So once I decide all the buttons I want to have, you can see here on the right, these are all the buttons I have. You can also rearrange their order. So if you go here, you can rearrange the order of the buttons. You may not realize that. And then on here, you can also preview what this is going to look like on desktop, as well as what it's going to look like on mobile. Once you've decided all your buttons and you hit update, then I can go to the bulk editor, and this is where I confirm that all of the buttons are linking to where I want. So if I'm doing a special button for early check-in with the hostco, I can link to that product. If you want to advertise property management, you can add that custom button and then add the link to your property management landing page here. If you sign up for the host code, we'll put those links in for you automatically. You can also add the Viator widget, which when you sign up for Viator, we will also share with you. This is all the Viator tours and activities you want to feature, and then you get that 8% commission on these. So tons of upsell opportunities, tons of things that you can market to guests upon arrival in the property, where they log up to the Wi-Fi and then they get this text message. And the thing to remember about text marketing is that you're going to send this text message. It's going to get like a 98% read rate, right? Very high delivery rates. Then that is on their phone for the rest of the stay. So it's very easy for them to get back to this homepage and see all the details of all these links again, which is great because they go here when they log into the Wi-Fi, right? But it's then not that easy to get back to here, right? So if you text it to them, it will be on their phone for the whole stay, and they can go back to all of these things whenever they like, which I think is really, really important. And then, of course, you can also change the image or import it from your PMS. So once you're good with your home pages, and you can preview them alone down here, you can find the links to them over here as well. So you can also download a QR code and put that in the property so they can access the homepage, right? So tons of ways to market your homepage, which we definitely want to do. Text marketing for me is still number one. Now everybody, they log into the Wi-Fi. If they opt into text, they will get this text message and they will have that homepage link on their phone for the rest of the stay, which I think is really, really important. Then I'll talk about rate and review. The number one reason people are using rate and review is to increase and improve their Google reviews. And Google reviews, in my opinion, are the most important public reviews when it comes to your short-term rental business. You can also do Facebook, you can also do TripAdvisor, you can also do your own website. But Google reviews for your business page are really great because whenever somebody Googles the name of your brand, your business page, your little business thing is going to appear right on the right here. So if I go and look up, let's say, Stay Duvet in Charleston, right? Like they're going to appear right here on my right. So whenever someone is Googling your name of your business, if you have your business page set up, it will be right here and they will see your reviews right here. So this really validates if anyone is like, I wonder if I really want to book with this brand and does a quick Google search, you do not want this review page piece to look bad, right? So we really want to make sure we have a ton of 5-star reviews here because if you've never really tried to nurture your Google reviews, I'd say it's like the 3 reviews you get are going to be from the 3 angry outliers because 99% of people are not going to think to leave you a Google review. Only people that have something to complain about are going to go there. So we want to make sure we're directing some positive traffic to your Google business review. So first thing you want to make sure is just you have a Google business page set up for your business. So you can just Google set up Google business page and you can make sure that you can do that. And then I'll walk you through how to actually set up the rate and review campaign. But first, this flow just kind of shows you what the process looks like. It will ask the guest under a certain number of days, after a certain number of days, to leave you a review. Then they get this page that will load automatically with your kind of splash page imagery in the back for that home, and we'll ask them to rate you out of 5 stars. If they rate you 5 stars, that's when we will then present them the link to go to Google, or they have to leave 5 stars again, right? So they do have to do that twice, but we do get a ton of reviews this way. And if they have less than 5 stars, we will collect feedback here, and then you can view that feedback in the dashboard. So when it comes to setting this up, I'll hit edit here. You can decide how many days after someone connects to the Wi-Fi you want to ask for a review. There's kind of 2 approaches to this. One is I'm going to do this around when most people would be checking out or right after, so 3, 4, 5 days, depending on your average length of stay. And then you can write the message here. At the end of the message, you can see here we automatically, after whatever you finish writing, we automatically insert the link to review. So just keep in mind that's kind of how this is constructed here. So whatever you write here at the end, you can put a colon, and after that will be the review link. Then you can customize what they see when they get to this rate and review page. So you can see here, you can decide the text. How did we do? You can decide the minimum stars to go to Google or the other ones, but I always think 5, you want to do 5, which is the default. And then you can set up this page where you can pick the buttons that you want to have offered here. I have all of them selected here. Realistically, most people are just doing Google. Here, we will instruct you here. You need to get a certain link that will lead you directly, it will basically take them to Google, and your review little modal will pop up right there. If you click here, we will show you the process to go get that for your business through Google. It's not that obvious. So if you can't figure that out, just click here and we'll show you what that looks like. And then this is the feedback page if they leave you less than 5 stars. So then you can also configure that here. If they leave you 5 stars, they don't see this last one. Then under ratings and reviews, this is where you'll find the results. So again, if they rated you 5 and click Google, it doesn't mean that they left you a Google review, but most of them will. But some people will go there and abandon, but that's fine. If you do this, you'll get plenty. And then if someone leaves you less than 5, you can see their information here. This is why some people actually do this like day 1 or day 2 after someone logs into the Wi-Fi, because they want to get a review or feedback from guests prior to when most people are checking out. So if you do that, you can collect, hopefully not that much, but if you do get negative feedback, you will see it here. You'll see which property they stayed at, which property they're in, when they left it. And in that way, you can address negative feedback before they go and, let's say, leave it on Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, which we definitely want to avoid. So some people do like to collect earlier feedback from guests as a way to stave off negative feedback. Someone asked, will a 3-star review not show up on Google? Well, basically, we asked them to rate you here first, and they rated you 5, and then we send them to Google. We cannot guarantee that then they don't leave you a 3-star review. From my experience, though, that doesn't really happen very often, because when customers implement this, we see their number of Google 5-star reviews on their Google page grow pretty steadily. And if you have a lot of guests, it can grow very fast. So obviously somebody could say 5 and then say 3 on Google. It's pretty unlikely. Haven't seen it happen very often. So we cannot guarantee they're going to leave you a 5-star review on Google, but it's very likely if they did 5 here, they're going to do 5 again. But collecting feedback earlier in the stay, like day 1, day 2, that can also be very useful, because you can prevent or address negative feedback before they review you on an OTA, which is always nice. Here you can see the importance of Google reviews. So I talked about that when they Google you experience. I know for Cabins for You, which is a very large StayFi customer, we have been steadily helping them increase their Google review score. Google reviews are also really pertinent for search engine optimization. So if you have a lot of Google reviews from your business, your pages also get a little bit of a boost when people are searching for, like, in this case, cabins in Gatlinburg, right? So you will also rank higher in search if you have a lot of Google reviews for your business. Google likes that a lot, for you to use their review feature. So you are going to have to first verify your business profile on Google, so make sure you go do that. So just Google how to do that. It's pretty simple. Business profile Google set up. And then once you're set up, you can start sending reviews there. And like I said before, when you do it in StayFi, we'll show you how to get that perfect link so that it will pop up right when someone clicks on it, so they can leave you that 5-star review. Last but not least, we've got the group text campaigns. So this is where you can send a message to all of your subscribers, or now we do have the ability to filter who you're sending to, which I will show you how to do in a second. There are lots of amazing things you can text to guests that have been pretty effective in driving bookings. So as always, you can text people special offers. If you have events or experiences in your area and you still have unsold inventory, it's a great example or way to send and get traffic from past guests. I remember when we had the eclipse, we had people sending out, hey, we have 2 rentals left for the eclipse, book them on our website. Or, we have X important event in our destination and we only have X number of properties left to book, so book them here, right? And of course, holidays. And then the other one, I don't know if we have a slide on, is also cancellations or last minute availability. So if you do have someone cancel a booking and you don't have that much time to get another booking, sending a text message to your audience being like, hey, someone canceled this on these important dates. Are interested in staying here, to your repeat audience, especially if you're in a destination with a lot of drive-to traffic. Last minute deals to fill in of last minute availability works very, very well with text because everyone is going to see that text message and go right to your website or right to email you or right to call you to do that last minute booking. So when it comes to the campaigns, we can make it very easy to measure the results. So actually, let me show you a customer who lets us show their text messaging portal so that you can see some real data here. That's not just fake data. Um, so you can see here, it will show you first the Wi-Fi welcome text messaging stats, and you can filter by number of days. So you can see here, we sent 94 messages. Almost half of them had somebody click that message and no one unsubscribed. So that means half of the people are going to that homepage basically when you're sending this message. So again, really, really valuable. You can see here they're not using homepage, they're using guidebook URL, but definitely same result. And then down below, you can see here, these are all the different campaigns that they sent recently. I haven't looked at these in a while. And you can see here they have it so that the link tracking is on, which is great. So you can see here, you know, we have special deals for the next 10 days. We have a code for $50 off your next 3-night stay. Codes are great because if you're using a unique code for this text message, then you can track very easily. Does anyone use SPF 50? And if they do, I know it came from this campaign. We have, early summer promos, $500 off your stay May promo. So we're using a lot of promos, a lot of getaways. But you can see here, people really are finding these messages valuable. I don't know how many times I get text marketing. I unsubscribe a lot. You can see here, clearly this audience that this operator is cultivating does not want to unsubscribe to these campaigns because they are finding them having a lot of value, which I think is really amazing. So you can see here all sorts of different offers, a lot of offers for longer night stays. I love that. Incentivize people to stay there longer. I know they did like tickets, so they have like certain events in their area, and they said, hey, we'll give you special tickets or we'll give you a discount off of tickets to XYZ thing if you come and stay here. Free charcuterie board when you stay with us, right? So it doesn't always have to be a discount, it could be another thing of value. So lots of fantastic ideas for what you can send. And just to show you, when you are sending a campaign, you can use, again, all those merge fields. Just make sure you have replace URLs with trackable links, and that way we can track them. So whatever URL here you type in here, you'll see it transformed in the message preview to be that trackable shortcode. Here you can see, again, these are tons of campaigns from Branson family. I just thought I'd show you IRL what they actually look like in their account. So you get an idea that, yes, this is what actual people are doing. And obviously, Tyann, who runs this account, is getting bookings from these, or else she obviously would not keep doing them. So they definitely work and are successful. And you can see she's not doing it like every week. She's sending 1 or 2 messages a month, being very consistent and getting great response rates from those text messages and getting bookings with the different codes or different offers that she's putting together for return guests. That doesn't always have to be just money. And then, larger people are getting, again, different operators are getting that 5 to 10% click-through rate, which, as you know, is going to be higher than with email marketing. Now, the last thing I'll talk about when it comes, or the new thing I'll talk about it when it comes to, let me just open up the other account again. Is we did add, in the past, it was with text marketing. When you sent a text message, we only had the option to send it to all your subscribers. We now have the ability, a lot of people have asked for this, to send to just specific properties. And because you are sending and using credits when you send a text message, this can definitely save you credits if you have specific properties you want to advertise to or specific groups. So if you have properties in 2 different groups, you can set that by groups, you can pick multiple. But maybe you also have properties, some properties have high daily rates and some have lower daily rates, and you only want to like advertise to your higher end guests for this special, right? So you can choose which properties you want to message those associated guests that have stayed there. This is also great if you want to do a campaign that's very much focused to, I want to get more bookings for this home. You can now craft a text message campaign and just say, hey, you stayed at this property before. It just became available this weekend, or it's available for July 4th. Like, do you want to come back at this special time? So now you can really segment down to the audience of people that have stayed at this property before, and then just send a text message to them, which will save you on credits. Here you can see this is someone who is sending messages about events. So you can see Copa America, July festivities, Miami F1. So again, example of somebody who's not messaging just coupons or promo codes, right? You can also use this to message about popular events in your area. And obviously being in Miami, they have a lot of opportunities to do that. The last thing which I didn't cover in the slideshow is the text pricing. So I will go over billing, as I know we'll probably get a question about that. Essentially, you purchase credits from us. If you purchase more credits, they are cheaper at one time. So you can see here, here's the price per credit. If you purchase 50,000 credits, it's going to be half the cost of purchasing 500 credits. When you send messages, they do cost different amounts of credits. So for most messages from most of our users, they are text messaging US and Canadian numbers, which is 1 credit. We do let you text phones from other countries though. So for these countries, which is kind of like the next tier of most common in StayFi, UK, Australia, South Africa, South Korea, China, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and Portugal, those cost 2 credits each. All other countries cost 3 credits. You can see in your contacts, this is very typical for most StayFi users, is they're going to have primarily +1 numbers. So unless if you're operating in the UK or in South Africa or in Australia, if you're operating in the US, most of your numbers are going to be US and Canadian, and so most of your text will be 1 credit. If you do have the occasional international guest, those will cost 2 or 3 credits depending on where their phone number is from. So just a heads up here so that you know what you're paying for. And then if you are going to use our automatic messages, so our automations like Wi-Fi welcome, I recommend turning on the auto refill, and you can decide when your message gets below a certain amount, I want to refill for so much. And this means you won't have any text marketing interruptions because when you hit the low balance, we'll automatically charge your credit card and auto refill your account for whichever amount you want to purchase. So you can do one-time purchases up here, and then you can also set up auto refill to make sure your account doesn't run out of text messaging credits. So quick overview here, just so we go over everything. Turn on collection and in text marketing, and we'll automatically add it to your splash pages. It will take 2 to 6 weeks to get a toll-free number. So do that ASAP. I know it's confusing, like how do you start the process? You just click on any of the campaigns and it will take you to this process first. So we don't let you send anything until you complete business verification as well as autoresponder. So just click set up Wi-Fi welcome, click send group message, set up whatever, and we'll walk you through this first. Definitely recommend Wi-Fi welcome first. I would highly recommend sending your homepage in that message. I think that's what our default message will be. Also, make sure your home pages are good. So go to your home pages, check them, see if all the buttons you want are appearing. Make sure you add upsells. So if you want to add Viator, add Hostco, if you have your own upsell tools, you can just create a custom button and link to them. So don't be shy. I see really cool things on home pages where I see people advertising their real estate services. I see people advertising their own rentals. I see people advertising all sorts of things that they get good traction with. We also have had sessions on home pages. So if you want to know how to optimize yours, we have other YouTube videos in our YouTube channel about home pages. But definitely if you're sending the home page, you want to make sure you have at least a guidebook, book again button. And with guidebooks, we also support PDFs, so you don't even need a digital one, right? But you just want to have something there that guests are going to find valuable. And then obviously we'll create value for you, which is what we want to do. Set up, rate, and review. Google is definitely number one. Make sure you set up your Google business profile. and that is just going to really help you because if anyone, I know this is a big thing, like people are going to go to Airbnb, people are going to go to Vrbo, they're going to see your host name, your brand name, and they're going to Google you, right? And you do not want like your Google page on the right there to have like 3 angry people that gave you 2 or 1 stars. You want to make sure that that Google review section looks good and has a ton of 5-star ratings. So if somebody does come across your profile on an OTA and Googles you, they're like, oh, wow, this is a legitimate brand. And then they go to your website and book you directly, right? So we want to make sure when people find you through whatever means that they are having a positive impression of your brand and want to stay with you, obviously. And then you saw a ton of examples for group text. So again, last minute availability, cancellations, promo codes, very helpful to understand, are you getting any bookings from these, right? Because there is obviously a cost, when you send a text message with StayFi, it's going to cost $8, $12, $5, whatever it is. Using things like promo codes can help you very quickly assess, did anyone use SPS 50 after I sent this? Or did anyone email us about this offer or campaign? And you can know very quickly, am I getting ROI from sending that message? And then, of course, in that StayFi section, we'll show you all the reviews and we'll show you all the results. And people are getting 5-10% click-through rates on text marketing, which is incredible since email is going to be like 1-2%. So whatever you send, just make sure it has value and that you're sending semi-consistently so that people don't unsubscribe. And you can see from those I shared before, unsubscribe rates are super, super, super low, especially if you're sending consistent, valuable content. Now, I say we have some questions. I answered a few of these. Someone asks where they can review this recording. Yes, so we will publish it probably in the next 24 hours. And let me just pull this up. So if you Google YouTube StayFi, it's going to take you right to our YouTube StayFi page. And then we actually have playlists here. And under playlists, we have Marketing Mastery Series. So this will get posted in this series. And then, of course, you can view the email one, the homepage one. It will all be there. So you can get all that information there. Someone asks, is it 1 credit per message? It's 1 credit when you message a Canadian or US phone number, which is probably most of your numbers, but it will be 2 credits for those other countries like UK and Mexico, and then 3 credits for all other countries. Yeah, so someone asked, like, how do we price group text? Yes, when you go to the group text, it's going to show you how many credits you need to send this message and how many you have in your account. So if you have like 99 American numbers and 1, New Zealand number, which I think is 3 credits, it will be like 102 credits. So it will tell you the number, and if you need to buy more, of course, you can also narrow who you're sending it to, like I showed you before, picking different countries up here. You can see. Sweet, those are all great questions. Well, if you don't, yes, the only segmentation we have right now is by property. So for text marketing, can only segment by property at this time, which is better than what was before, which was nothing, and we'll add more in the future. But for now, it's just by property. And then, of course, setting up the automations will just be to people who log into the Wi-Fi and then people under the certain number of days. Someone asked if you can export emails and phone numbers to a separate database. Yes. So if you go to guest list, you can export all of your guests with their phone numbers, their opt-ins for SMS, for email, where you got them from, any other data from the PMS we can correlate with them, right? So all of that data is available in your guest list. You can export everything. We also have, obviously, you can integrate if you want to send things live. You can send things to any of these services below. And then, of course, you can always send things by Zapier. You can unsubscribe people from your databases here. So you can like delete guests from your database here. So you can do that as well if you don't want to text certain people or email them. Another question we get a lot is, can you upload phone numbers for text marketing? At this time, the answer is no. There are a lot of people who try to use text marketing services to spam people. And so one way that we just protect our service and to verify that we are collecting data that we know is opted in for text is that we are right now the only ones that collect the phone numbers and the opt-in. So I know that is a limitation, but that's really to protect us and you and the ability for all of our customers to send text marketing safely and not have it get blocked by carriers, is we're just very particular on making sure that we have opt-in from our own service for whenever we are sending texts. For guest list segmentation, as I said before, unfortunately for text marketing, it's only available by property. For email marketing, you do have a lot more options to how you want to segment guests. So in subscribers, you can segment your email lists a million different ways. But that is one limitation for text marketing is right now we can't, as I said before, you want to text people that left you a 5-star review and not 5-star review. Right now, unfortunately, we can't do that. It's only segmenting by what property the guest stayed in. Awesome. So if there's no more questions, I'll just kind of someone wants to add okay, let's go try this. I will just say someone's asking about adding a video to an email. Thing about videos and emails, right, is you can't really every time we embed an image, a video in an email, you can't really embed one in an email. It's always just going to be a link. So um there is a way to basically add an email to a video to an email. Okay, we have a few, so there's kind of two things. One, and if people want to go at this point, that's totally fine, as I know these questions are not totally relevant. So let me just kind of edit just a random email to show you this. So you're probably using here, we have like this video section here. Here it's basically limiting you to Vimeo or any video URL. It's totally free. Anyone can set up a YouTube channel. It's totally free. And then you can upload videos to free for YouTube. So what you can do is, like, let's just say I just upload a video. I'm just gonna grab a link here, and then I can drop that into my email. And then it will pull this image in here. Then I can also change this. This is like one way to do it. I don't really love it, and this will work. The other thing you can do is you can just place an image in here, pick an image from your video, and then just enter a URL as the image. You can put like the YouTube link in here too, and then upload an image. But yeah, so if you use this one, you just place a YouTube URL. And so all you need to do is go to YouTube and upload a video and make a free account, and then you can link to it from here. So you can totally do that. Okay, I'll answer this next question because it's simpler. Someone asked, we had a few guests enter a non-working email. So just a little background here. We use a service called Zero Bounce to validate whether, this is annoying that the settings button is blocked by this annotation thing. I think it should be here in the get started. So here, if you go to get started, you'll see this thing here, require valid email for Wi-Fi login, or you can do this under settings, which I can pull up here. Essentially, you can require valid email for guest login, which is this button here. This will basically check with a third-party service that we pay for called Zero Bounce. Zero Bounce will check that if the email is real or not. And then it also checks if it's certain other types of emails like spam trap. You put in an email example here of name@gmail.com. that probably will qualify as like spam trap because it knows that that's definitely not their email. And then it will tell them, please enter in a real email. It's obviously not 100% because we're using like a database tool, and we also err on the side of assuming they're entering a real email, because what we don't want to do is deny people access to the Wi-Fi because zero bounce incorrectly thinks that it doesn't know what email it is. So this will stop most people entering gibberish emails or fake emails and then require them to enter a real email. It's not going to be 100%, but it's going to be able, to get 95% of the emails that are entered to be real ones. Someone asked, can we show how to do email list segmentation? Yes. So in an email list, and we will create typically 3 different lists. If you use all of our tools, we have a Wi-Fi list, PMS list, and pre-arrival list. Wi-Fi is typically the largest. If I want to make a segment here, I can segment my email list based on any data in StayFi, which is a lot. So you can see here I have property name, property group. I have sign-in dates. So you can like make it between 2 dates. You can pick properties to are, contains XYZ, can be multiple, can be 1. So you can match this exactly, and then or matches exactly a different property, right? So any information associated with your guest in the guest list, you can create segments based on, and then you can send emails to just those segments. So it's really infinite. And then if you click on the guest list here and you go to custom fields, these are all the fields. Like for instance, PMS guests, we are trying to fill in a ton of different fields. So we have all of this data that you can use for segmentation. So it can be a little overwhelming because you can basically segment on anything you want. Most common ones are obviously going to be property, dates. You asked about reviews. That's a trickier one, I know, because we don't integrate reviews from third parties. If you do have a way to associate reviews with guests, you can add it to your StayFi guest list later, or you could upload, like if you know these are all a certain VIP list of guests, you can basically upload your own email marketing list or segment it from a list that we have in StayFi. So it's a little complicated because there's literally infinite options when it comes to segmentation, but there's a ton of data you can use in StayFi to accomplish what you want. And if you can't figure it out, just email support@stayfi.com. And then the last question is a very, very broad question. So I will answer this as best as I can, which is, what is the best way to make guests rebook? I would say the most important thing is that every single guest that is staying with you knows after they leave the property that A, you have a brand that is different than Airbnb, and B, they know what is the advantage of booking directly versus booking through an OTA. And for most people, that's going to be price, but not for everybody. So the key thing is, do you have enough touch points so that when the guest leaves, all of those marketing messages are ingrained in their mind? And also, obviously, that they had a great time and also would want to refer you to other people. So I would recommend making sure you set up the core automations in StayFi, which are going to be Wi-Fi welcome, post-departure, stay anniversary, as well as the text welcome. That way, you basically have 2 email touch points during the stay and a text touch point during the stay that will get your homepage in front of the guest, get your brand in front of the guest, and get your why rebook with me message in front of the guest. And then obviously, stay anniversary is another really valuable one. Then I would just make sure that you are at least emailing your list at least once a month with relevant information about properties to book, reasons to come to the destination, things like that. I'd say in email marketing, I would lean on upcoming availability, especially if you're on the smaller side, because in an upcoming availability email, you can feature specific properties and dates. And I'd say this is really, really important if you're smaller, because if you only have 3 to 5 properties and you send them to your website and they're all booked, not a great experience, right? So this way you can search in your calendar for available nights and then only feature the properties and nights that are actually available to sell. And that's really important because if you have pretty high occupancy, you want to make sure that your emails are sending people to listings that they can actually book on your website or directly with you. right? So I'd say those are all the main things, but like big picture, guests got to know who you are and they got to know why they should come back directly with you. Those are definitely number one and number two. And I believe we have a ton of tools in here that can help you do that, especially on an automated basis, because you're not going to maybe remember to send an email every month, but if you have those core automations set up, you can make sure that they're getting those messages no matter what else is going on in your business at that time. I hope that was generally helpful because I know this is a big, broad question. As we're wrapping up now, I'll just, as a reminder, if you joined a little later, the next marketing mastery session is going to be all about StayFinder, which is the most exciting thing I think we've ever done at StayFi. So I'm really psyched to share a ton of details about it. And if you can't make that session, don't worry. We are doing 2 other sessions I will put back in the chat here where you can register. Of course, we'll be sending emails about this as well. But definitely register for one of these if you can't attend this same session in 2 weeks. And of course, these will all be recorded and published because we're going to go over all the reasons why you should be a part of StayFinder. And at the end of the day, this is going to help not just you get more rebookings, this is going to help more people discover why they should book directly with you. And I'll talk all about the very cool ways we're going to start doing that. And then, of course, all the added features that are going to be in StayFinder in the future. And StayFinder, just so you know, is like totally free. And there will be advantages for both being a StayFi customer and being a StayFinder member. And it will be at no added cost beyond what you already pay for StayFi. So definitely want to attend that and learn all about it so we can really start to help everybody work together is basically at the end of the day drive more direct bookings for their business, and I'm very excited to talk more about it. And with that, I will wrap up today's session. I hope everyone found it helpful. I hope you can go try out the text marketing tool. I know it's a little frustrating that you have to wait to get a toll-free number, so it's not easy to get started today, but definitely start the process if you haven't already. And of course, if you have any questions, just reach out to support@stayfi.com and they can make sure your text marketing is set up successfully. So yeah, hope everyone has a great rest of their week, and thanks again for joining.